Good morning everyone. I, Sujata from Akal Academy Rasulpur will tell you about analytical paragraph. So let's get started. Analytical paragraph is one of the elements used to assess students' writing skills. Every analytical paragraph should include three elements. First is introduction, second one is body, and third is conclusion. In the introduction, we need to introduce the thesis, and in the body, we'll analyze the whole thesis in 2 or 3 paragraphs. In the last one, we need to conclude the previous information, the previous analysis in a precise manner. So we will understand it with the help of an example. Here see the question. The graph shows the information about changes in the birth and death rates in New Zealand between 1901 and 2001. If we see here, he's talking about the birth and death rates in New Zealand between 1901 and 2001. First of all, we need to summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparison where relevant. We can do comparison with the help of comparative and superlative degrees. So let's see the graph here. Here the x-axis shows the years 1901 to 2001. The x-axis talk about the years, and the y-axis is telling about the birth and death rates. Like in the 1901 they have shown 10,000. 10 not means 10, 10 means 10,000. Here 3 zeros are also mentioned. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 and so on. And the two lines we can see here, the grey lines tell about the death rates in New Zealand, and the black line shows about the graph of birth rate in the New Zealand. So we'll see the introduction. The graph shows the changes in the birth and death rates in the New Zealand since 1901 and forecast till 2001. While talking about the introduction, we need to be very precise and it should be as short as possible. Here we see the black line is the birth line here. In 1901, the birth rate was 10,000. The birth rate was 20,000 and the death rate was 10,000. Firstly, we will see the birth rate line. The birth rate line started increasing gradually. It reaches its peak at 66,000. And the year was 1951. In the 1901 it was at 20,000 and then it started increasing. In between there was a large fluctuation, we can see decrease and increase. Then it reaches its peak at 1951. Then again it started declining. After the fluctuation between 50,000 and 60,000, it started declining. Here we can see the declination in the death rate at the point 45,000. In the last years, the death rate is 45,000. All the previous things which I have talked we will mention in the body of the paragraph. First of all, first paragraph. Between 1901 and the present day, the birth rate has been consistently higher than the death rate. It stood at 20,000 at the start of this period and increased to a peak of 66,000 in 1961. Since then, the rate has fluctuated between 65,000 and it is expected to decline slowly to around 45,000 births by the end of the century. While analyzing the paragraph, we need to see the highest point, the lowest point, and the contrast which we can show. Now come to the second part of the body. In contrast, the death rate raised below the 10,000. Here we can see the death rate has started below the 10,000 and has increased steadily until present time. If we see the graph, it has been increasing to the present time. And this increase is expected to be more rapid between 21 and 2051. We can see here from 21 to 2051 it keep on increasing, and when the rate will probably left off at around 60,000 before dropping slightly in 2001, and it has dropped at 2001. Now we'll come to our last point, last element, that is conclusion. Here we will talk about the previous terms which we have mentioned in the introduction and the body. Overall, these opposing trends mean that the death rate will probably overtake the birth rate in around 2041, and the large gap between the two levels will be reversed in the later part of the century. As we said that death rate will overtake the birth rate in around 2041, and it will reverse at the end of the century, like at 2001 it will be reversed. So this was our